Hi, my name is Dakota Mamola, and I'm Cal Crutchlow's personal assistant, and this is my life in the paddock. Truthfully, my dad brought me here when I was probably 3 or 4, so I was always just running around here, playing around, and slowly I got into racing, and I did come to some of the races still as a young kid fan, and obviously watched the big boys ride at the track made me also learn some things to improve my racing. And then in 2015 was actually the first year I started working in the paddock with Cal. I stopped racing in 2014 towards the end, and Cal was kind of looking for an assistant. You know, asked me the question, and I didn't know what I was going into, but I definitely enjoyed it. And I was with him in 2015, and in 2016 I went racing again. 17 went back with him, and I also worked in 2018 with Alpine Stars. So it was kind of like an on and off relationship, but now I'm definitely not moving from here until you know, he's done and retired. I'm like his wingman, so we'll go training on the Wednesday, Thursday together. I'll prepare all of his stuff like his helmet, boots, gloves. I'll usually go to all of his media, make sure he knows where he has to go when. You know, if he needs any modification because he's had a crash and hurt his wrist or whatever, I'll go to Alpine Star and make that modification for him. Just kind of be there and tell him what he has to do on the weekend, so he only has one thing to do, is just focus on racing. And not just that, is just being his friend, you know, and just being there for him for, you know, mentally and everything. You know, it's kind of like an extra boost of you know, of motivation, I think. I think every assistant has to adapt to the rider. I think every rider is different. Every rider wants something particular. You know, I'm a bit younger than Cal, but you know, I learn things from him, and I think he learns things from me. And what's most important is that I keep him motivated, because he is one of the elderly riders out there. And you know, I try to keep him extra motivated when he's out riding or training or whatever. We always talked about this, me and Cal. We'd love to do like a rider assistant race, like a cycling or running race, and see who would be the best team, and we think we'd win. So, you know, I just enjoy doing sports, and I ride a lot at home with Remy, and you know, I keep fit, and I think that's just from starting so young. I just still enjoy it, and I still do it. And now that I have Cal, who's, you know, really strong in cycling, it makes me want to improve on my cycling, as every other racer wants to improve in whatever, you know, sport they do. He's changed in a way since 2015. He's had Willow and he's got Lucy at home, and since they've had Willow, he's changed a bit. He has that confidence that he might not have had in the first couple of years to just let me do what I have to do. He'll probably kill me for saying this, but probably taking care of him. Especially Lucy not being here this year, it's a bit harder, but no, he's a good crack. It depends his mood, and I know when to leave him alone or not. I think the hardest part and the most pressure we have as assistants is making sure everything's in place. I'm always worried when he's out. I'm always double thinking. I think that's the most worrying thing about us assistants. When he's out there riding, we also have a responsibility, as well as the mechanics with the bike. Best part, I think, would be traveling, being involved in the racing still, because it's what I've been grown up since 3 years old. You also create your own family here, so you could call this your second home. And also having a lot of good laughs with Cal. I really enjoy being with him and cycling with him, and just being, you know, around this team too. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. I looked at the timing sheets in the evening, and there was no practice going on, but I think I looked at the wrong one, and I went running around the track. In Malaysia, there's 2 paddocks, and when I started running about turn 3, I kept seeing the marshals waving at me, and I just kept waving them back, thinking they were just cheering me on. And then all of a sudden I started hearing Moto3 bikes out, and there was the Asian talent come out. So I ran across the road. Anna Spalletta kind of got me a little bit, and I was a bit in trouble by her. But that was maybe one of the good stories, and Cal keeps reminding me. But with Cal, it'll be in Qatar. I think 3 years ago, he had an engine problem, and he had all oil around his boot, and he came running in the garage. And the first thing I thought was to clean his boot, because he wanted to go straight out without changing his boot. And instead of taking contact cleaner, I took chain oil and just started spraying chain oil all over his boot, which made the situation a lot worse. And he just started, he's like, that's chain lube, I gotta, now, then we had to go switch his boots. And then he keeps on reminding me of that situation. But anyway, there's just things that we all make mistakes, but I haven't made many, which is good. MotoGP is, you know, it's a great championship, especially now with all this racing. It's so close now. I think it's become a championship to look at. Let's see what comes for the next few races.